The weight of the golden watch in Mateo's hand felt like a leaden anchor pulling him into the depths of the ocean. He stood in the middle of a silent, abandoned workshop, surrounded by the dust of 30 years of craftsmanship, and realized he had traded the only thing that truly mattered for a ticking piece of metal. His father's workbench, once scarred by honest labor and smelling of cedar, was now cold. Mateo had spent a decade running away from this room, chasing a version of success that looked like high-rise glass and felt like ice. Now, holding the final inheritance he had fought his siblings to claim, the silence of the room was a deafening indictment of his choices. The struggle had begun years earlier, fueled by a hunger that Mateo could never quite satisfy. While his sister, Elena, stayed behind to tend to the family's small-town legacy, Mateo viewed their quiet life as a cage. He saw his father's calloused hands not as a sign of strength, but as a mark of failure. He believed that worth was measured in the sharpness of a suit and the prestige of a title. Every time he returned home for a fleeting visit, he looked at the modest wooden toys and sturdy furniture his father created with a mixture of pity and disdain. He told himself he was destined for more, unaware that more often comes at the cost of enough. When their father fell ill, the tension between ambition and duty finally snapped. Elena spent her nights by the bedside, reading aloud and holding a hand that was slowly losing its grip on the world. Mateo, meanwhile, was in a boardroom 300 miles away, closing a deal that would secure his promotion. He told himself he was doing it for the family, but the lie tasted like copper in his mouth. He arrived at the hospital only after the monitors had gone flat, his expensive leather shoes clicking rhythmically against the linoleum. A cold, mechanical sound in a room filled with the soft, ragged breathing of grief. The conflict reached its peak during the reading of the will. Their father had left the workshop and the family home to Elena, but he had left one specific item to be decided between them: a vintage, handcrafted gold watch that had been passed down through 4 generations. To Elena, it was a symbol of time spent together, a reminder of the hours their father spent teaching them the value of patience. To Mateo, it was an asset. It was a trophy. He used every legal loophole and every manipulative word in his arsenal to claim it. He argued that he was the one who understood its market value, the one who could protect the legacy. In reality, he just wanted to win. He won. Elena stepped back, her eyes filled not with anger, but with a profound, weary sadness. She handed him the watch without a word and walked out of the law office, leaving a void that no amount of gold could fill. Now, standing in the derelict workshop a week later, Mateo finally opened the back of the watch. He expected to see the intricate rhythmic dance of gears and springs. Instead, he found a small handwritten note tucked into the casing, yellowed with age but preserved by the gold. It wasn't a set of instructions or a certificate of authenticity. It was a single sentence in his father's shaky script. "The time you spend chasing the sun is time you lose feeling its warmth." The realization hit him like a physical blow. He looked at the watch, then at the empty chair where his father used to sit. He had spent his entire adult life sprinting toward a finish line that didn't exist. He had sacrificed his relationship with his sister, ignored the final months of his father's life, and hardened his heart against the simple joys of a quiet existence, all to possess an object that told him exactly how much time he had already wasted. He looked at the dusty tools on the bench. He remembered the smell of sawdust and the sound of his father's laughter. He realized that the success he had built was a hollow shell. He had the watch, but he had no one to tell him it was time for dinner. He had the gold, but he had lost the silver in his father's hair and the light in his sister's eyes. The ticking of the watch began to sound like a heartbeat, one that was fading, reminding him that once a second is spent, it can never be earned back. Mateo placed the watch on the workbench. He didn't put it in his pocket. He didn't look at its value on his phone. He walked to the window and watched the sunset over the hills of his hometown. For the first time in 10 years, he wasn't checking his schedule or planning his next move. He was just there, feeling the cold air and the weight of his own breath. He knew what he had to do. The path back to his sister and to his own soul would be long, and it wouldn't be paved in gold, but it was the only road left worth walking. The greed that had driven him for so long had finally starved to death in the silence of that room. Mateo left the workshop, leaving the door unlocked, and began the walk toward Elena's house. He didn't need a watch to know that he was late, but for the first time in his life, he understood that being late is better than never arriving at all. The lesson: a full wallet is a heavy burden if it comes at the cost of an empty heart.